On this week's Rebel Report, we get a recap on the season of UNLV women's soccer as they faced Reno in their final game. Rebels! And then senior night took place for men's soccer as they continue to move forward in WAC play. We report on and address a recent men's basketball scandal and the NHRA Fan Fest. The Rebel Report starts now.
Welcome to Rebel Report's fourth show. We are about halfway through our season and semester, so we hope that our viewers are enjoying season 4 just as much as we are.
Yes, and we'd like to thank everyone for the support. Plus, we'd like to give a big thank you to our instructor and producer, John Castagnino. Don't let the credit get to your head now.
All right, let's start off with a finisher. The UNLV women's soccer team dished out against longtime rival UNR for their final game of the season. Jafar Robso gives us more on the finish of the 2017 season.
Unfortunately, the season did not pan out for UNLV's women's soccer team, but they ended up getting the W for their last game against UNR.
A great 2017 season didn't exactly go the way the Lady Rebels were expecting, especially coming off a historic 2016 season where they made an appearance in the NCAA tournament but had lost to BYU.
To the girls that came in as transfers, I think that them coming in and having a successful season towards the beginning kind of showed them how much potential we have as a school to continue to build. They are going to be the fundamental players for this squad, and they know that. And I think that this year was a huge confidence booster for them. They will definitely grow into great leaders, like I know they will. But I'm very, very, very excited to see what they can do next year.
However, the season didn't finish off on a bad note as the Lady Rebels defeated Reno, Nevada in the Governor Series.
This game was great. It was great to end on a high with 5 goals, against a rival, get those Governor Series points for the university. A little bittersweet though, because we had started off to a really, really good start, and then kind of petered out a little bit at the end. Hit a bad slide. The previous 4 games.
Like they say, all good things must come to an end. From Rebel Report, I'm Jafar Robso.
Sophia Cortez ended her season with 2 goals in her last game against UNR. Sadly, the Lady Rebels ended their season 13-8, 5-6 in Mountain West play, and they did not make the Mountain West tournament, making them the first team in history to host the conference without playing in it.
We would also like to congratulate Sophie Cortez on her all-conference first team, Shadera Akibilo on her all-conference second team, and Amanda Galbraith on her all-newcomer team.
Not only do we want to extend a congratulations to those outstanding athletes on women's soccer team, but also all the seniors who played their last game of their college career.
It was a bittersweet night here at the Peter Johann Memorial Field as UNLV women's soccer team closes their 2017 season with a win and also says goodbye to 5 seniors.
Chidera Acabello, Sophia Cortez, Jordan Steele, Courtney Anderson, and Michaela Kelsey were honored at a pregame ceremony before their last home game. These seniors will leave UNLV as the most winning group of seniors in program history, collecting 49 wins over the last 4 years. These 5 young women are the first class to play all 4 years of their college career under head coach Chris Shaw. Not only will these ladies be remembered as one of the most successful in UNLV history, but most importantly helping the Rebels win the Mountain West regular season and tournament championships in the same season for the first time and reaching the NCAA tournament for the first time in 10 years.
Well, you've got Chidera Akabuilo, who's been a 4-year starter for us at center back, a defensive presence, great in the air, scores goals with her head offensively, keeps them out of the back of the net defensively. She's been a 2-year captain for us. She's a leader on and off the field. Just a great student, great kid. Sophie Cortez, who's just a dynamic, attacking, creative player. Had 2 goals tonight. I think had 14 shots tonight, which I'd have to go back and look, but that might be a program best in a single game. You have Mikey Kelsey, who's actually a 5th year. Played at left back tonight. As you know, again, great kid, does all the right things, hardworking, super fit. Courtney Anderson, who's another 5th year, and Courtney's a holding midfielder that does a great job for us, hard-nosed. And then Jordan Sally in goal, who's been starting for 4 years and does a great job at keeping the ball out of the back of the net. It's great to send her, finish her career with a shutout. So it's a great group of seniors, and we'll miss all 5 of them.
Even though the women's soccer team ended their 2017 season sooner than they hoped, they definitely made a huge impact throughout the year and gave the seniors a final game to always remember. From the Rebel Report, I'm Arlinda Gregory.
Like Arlinda said, this season may not have played out exactly like the ladies would have hoped, but last year they did a killer season. Always a silver lining.
Meanwhile, on October 29th, the men's soccer team made the most out of their regular season game, home game, senior day. Summer Crawley has more details.
A special day at Peter Johann Memorial Field where the UNLV Rebels soccer team played its last regular season game on Senior Day. With only 2 games left in the regular season, the Rebels faced ranked number 22 Seattle. Before kickoff, 11 seniors were recognized on their home field. For one senior, it only means the beginning as the professional league calls his name.
Right. Well, the plan is just finish out the season, and then after that, you assess the options and prepare for the draft. But right now, my full focus is on these next 2 to 3 weeks of the season. Making sure we close it out strong with the conference championship.
The Rebels and Redhawks both leveled at 1-1 in the first half. In the second half, both teams went scoreless. In the first overtime period, the score still remained 1-1. In the last overtime, Timo Melic scored the golden goal to secure its upset win over the top 25 team 2-1.
Exciting finish to get a goal in the second overtime. Not much time left. It was a great way to win. Seattle, I've got a lot of respect for Seattle and their program, ranked team, and it was just a great way for our guys to finish.
The team is now tied for second with Seattle in the WAC standings. With only 1 game left underneath their belt, the Rebels look to finish off with a win and come back to Vegas for the WAC tournament.
Well, we still have 1 more game, so we want to keep that. I think head-to-head, obviously, would be if we were tied with Seattle, we would get the nod to stay in second place, so that we're tied with them right now. So I think it's an important game next week for seeding. We'll be playing, I think, regardless, at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. We just don't know the opponent yet.
As the Rebels close the 2017 regular season on the road against Grand Canyon University November 4th, the Rebels will be back home for the WAC tournament November 8th through the 12th. For the Rebel Report, I'm Summer Crawley.
The Rebels clinched a spot in the tournament and will play on November 8th at 7 p.m. Tickets to the WAC tournament can be purchased on unlvtickets.com.
It's still football season, but the Runnin' Rebels have officially began preparing for the upcoming season.
If you follow college basketball, you know there's a big scandal rocking the court. Alex Wong is in the studio with the latest.
All right, the first Runnin' Rebel basketball practice of the season started at the end of September, and although head coach Marvin Menzies wanted to focus on the new season, the media wanted to get his thoughts on a pay-for-play scandal rocking college basketball.
After a 2-year federal investigation, evidence of money being funneled to AAU coaches and recruits was found. 2 coaches being investigated are Louisville head coach Rick Pitino and USC assistant coach Tony Bland, both of whom have connections to Menzies.
In reference to Coach Pitino, you guys know I worked for him for a couple of years, and I just can't speak to what's going on now and with all of that stuff, because obviously I don't have any knowledge of any of those things, but I will say that my time spent with Coach Pitino was very, very good for me in my professional growth. And I'll say that I have a lot of love for Coach, and also that I can just speak to my time with him. He was always very conscientious of us doing things the right way, being very ethical.
Pitino was put on administrative leave, then later fired from Louisville. Menzies' connection with Bland is from SDSU when Menzies was the assistant basketball coach and recruiting coordinator from 1999 to 2004. Bland was arrested on fraud and bribery charges but later released on bail. Since Menzies has ties with Pitino and Bland, he addresses how he feels about any possible concern or ties to these investigations for the Runnin' Rebels program.
I know how we do things. I know how I do things. So I'm very, very confident that we have nothing to worry about here. I'm very confident of the future of this program, excited for it and excited about this year's team.
There is nothing leading to any speculation of wrongdoing by Menzies, and it's all systems go for the Runnin' Rebels as the team's first preseason game is November 3rd, and the regular season begins November 11th against Florida A&M.
Thanks, Alex. Last home game, our Rebels football team had multiple events in order to honor our school and what we stand for, support, and show pride in. It was our homecoming game. Sam Boyd Stadium had their annual homecoming game while the team was battling against Utah State. Multiple events were planned to show school pride. This included a halftime show of all ages and a cheer routine, Rebel Girls alumni dance, multiple awards, including crowning of this year's Scarlet Royalty and Gray Royalty, which went to two young ladies, Nicole Gorn and Joy Obasali. Then, being the month of October, it was also the Pink Out game. Breast cancer survivors were honored, including Cindy Lou Wooten and Jody Shepler, whom were brought on the field for the coin toss. Las Vegas has been an emotional place this season. With these events, the emotions ran even more high. Here are some of the winners and survivors' thoughts.
Shook. I'm shook. That's all I have to say. I'm shook. That's all.
Definitely surprised. I was expecting them to say a guy's name, and I was like, "That'll be my boyfriend." And then all of a sudden, it was me. I was like, "What?"
And I feel very honored to be appreciated as a survivor, actually.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. It's nice hearing our names called when we know we've beaten something like this. So it was awesome.
Congrats to all the winners and much love to the survivors. Now, let's keep that Rebel pride up as we move forward in this season with a game against Hawaii November 9th as they try to reach a bowl game.
I made it out to the Revere Golf Club in Henderson, Nevada for the Simon Keith Foundation's annual golf tournament. The tournament is to benefit children who have undergone life-saving organ transplants and to increase organ donor awareness. They're honoring local Las Vegas heart transplant recipient Brianna Love.
So Simon Keith is one of the longest living heart transplants to date, and he's also the first to ever play a professional sport. His story with Brianna and her father is an amazing story. Let's hear about that. So the Simon Keith Foundation invited Brianna Love to be the honoree for the tournament, which wouldn't have happened without her father TJ's involvement. Simon's timing was perfect on how he met TJ. Let's hear more on that.
I met Simon Keith through Chico Borja, who's one of my playing partners today. He said, well, I ought to connect with Simon Keith because he's not only there in Las Vegas, but he does a lot of organ donor network and organ donation and awareness for organ donors. And so I contacted him, and I would say within the hour, he replied back. He was my crutch. He was the person that I emailed, I called, I texted, I messaged, and everything I could do to get some support. And he was the guy that knew it. He knew it all.
Mayor Goodman even declared it Brianna Love Day in her honor, and Brianna is pretty excited about that and being a part of the foundation too.
I think that the foundation is amazing. It's a great way to share a lot of heart transplant patients, or basically any transplant patient. I think it's just a fun way to get excited and be like, yeah, let's go golfing, just to get excited about it.
This isn't your typical golf tournament. Simon spices it up with llamas to pet along the course, as well as some loving goats to stop and say hi to. He also set some fun challenges on a few holes, which makes it a great day to raise some money and have some fun.
I find myself in a very uncomfortable position. I'm getting better at it, I think, but just very humbled to be alive and be able to do what I do. So the people that come are the people who love me and love us and support us, and I just want them to know how much I appreciate them. It's important.
So today's mission was to help children get back to an active life after transplant, and today was a success. To check out more and to help the cause, go to the SimonKeithFoundation.com or pick up his book, Heart of the Game. I'm Casey Carpenter with the Rebel Report.
What a great event it was to be part of that. Those llamas and goats were really sweet too.
The NHRA Fan Fest kicked off its weekend at Fremont Street with live music, giveaways, games, and autographs from some of our favorite NHRA top stars. Diana Zainadea was there to catch all the action on the fastest motor sport. Here's more on the story.
Roughly 30 of the NHRA's top stars are at the NHRA Fan Fest in order to sign autographs and promote the 17th annual NHRA Toyota Nationals.
The event runs Thursday through Sunday at the Strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. World champions John Force, Antron Brown, Erica Enders, and Ron Capps are just a few of the drivers who will be part of the festivities at the 3rd Street stage. Fans can enjoy live music, games, and giveaways, followed by an hour-long autograph session where they can get up close and personal with their favorite drivers. In addition, the Nevada Health Center's mobile mammography unit will be on site and offering female fans free mammograms in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. NHRA Fan Fest kicks off a great weekend of racing at the iconic drag strip at LVMS.
Welcome everybody. If you're wandering down Fremont Street and you're not sure what's going on over here, it's the NHRA. We are the fastest motorsport. 330-mile-an-hour cars side by side.
We love the racing, and oh my God, when those cars go, the vibes that go through my body is awesome.
I'm here for my wife's birthday, for my anniversary, and to watch the NHRA races Sunday.
Steve Torrance, John Force, Shane Gray, and Jerry Sauvé won titles in their respective events at last year's NHRA Toyota Nationals, and a pair of track records were set during the course of the exciting weekend. For Rebel Report, I'm Diana Zainadine.
Terry McMillan won our 2017 Las Vegas Top Fuel Final. He hasn't had a victory in the past 6 races. The last time he had won a round, he went to the final in Seattle and was devastated when he lost. So this is huge for that team. Now we are going to go to Summer for our Rebel Report Timeout.
Rebel Report Timeout.
Thanks, guys. For this week's Rebel Timeout, we have former Rebel girl, now motivational speaker, Alexa Glazer. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for taking your time. And as I mentioned, you were a Rebel girl. So can you just talk a little bit how you transitioned from your experiences as an athlete to now your movement?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up dancing my entire life, and so that discipline of being an athlete has always kind of been ingrained in me. So that transition from Rebel girls to motivational speaker, I've always wanted to be a leader and kind of get my voice out there. So that was just an amazing platform to kind of start as a team and then move forward on in the afterlife.
So what started living the dream for you?
Yeah, so actually it's kind of a legacy from my dad. I lost my dad 3.5 years ago, and living the dream was his motto on life. So that's kind of how I have based my entire life now, and my whole idea is living the dream today because tomorrow's not promised.
And what teams have you helped? I heard that you've been here on campus with a lot of teams. So which teams did you speak to, and what was the focus about your talks?
Yeah, so I've worked with the cheer team, pom team, women's soccer, and women's volleyball. And definitely the focus is that living the dream and how to bring it into your sports life, but also the grind and confidence and being that team player, knowing that you have to sacrifice things in order to be a Division I athlete and kind of go after your goals as an individual and as a team. So really bringing people together, being super hands-on, but giving them that perspective that real life happens even when we're athletes on a team. So it's molding each other and kind of finding what works for each other and like being there for one another, like actually becoming a family.
And so how important, as we both know, as being former athletes, like how important is it the mental side of things, taking care of with school and then also your athletics?
So important. I know that there was so many times just me being an athlete, you know, you're so stressed because you have so many things going on, but really being able to like hone that in and take that mental portion, it's going to help you, you know, deliver.
And so what would you say is the most successful thing that you have done with Living the Dream?
So I actually have trademarked, so it's Living the Dream, the movement, and that was kind of for me just like my big, like, oh, it's actually real, it's mine. But I spoke at my first conference in August at the Smith Center here, and so being able to speak on a stage for like a 20-minute speech was actually just so incredible, and having my family here to really witness that was probably one of the best moments of my entire life, let alone just my Living the Dream.
And so how would you explain this movement to someone who doesn't know and who isn't familiar with it?
Yeah, so as I said before, my idea is living the dream today because tomorrow's not promised. And the big thing I want to kind of portray with that is that living the dream is not your end-all be-all. It's not the glitz and glam of life. It's every single day, your highs and your lows. I'm someone who thinks that kind of your worst moments and your low moments are really what shape you to become who you are. And once you kind of face that first major tribulation of life, that's when you kind of start realizing it. And then once you're able to accept that, you're kind of like, okay, challenge me. I'm ready for the next thing. And so I think that's really what I want, like, to give people as perspective. And I'm all about random acts of kindness and kind of giving people that other perspective that, you know, maybe they need a little extra boost, and I want to help them get there.
And what would you say is your overall goal, like your final?
Yeah, it's funny because when people ask me, I'm like, I want to conquer the world. And people laugh a little bit and think I'm crazy. But for me, conquering the world is, you know, making it a better place for you, for me, for everyone. And that's just adding that positivity in everyone's lives. So whether that's through motivational speaking, leaving Post-its around in random places with affirmations on it, writing a book that's going to help someone kind of get out of a process that, or a journey that they didn't want to be in but are. So all those sort of things.
So lastly, can you just let us know what your social media accounts, but first, look into that camera and let them know what your accounts are.
Yeah, so my Instagram account for @LivingTheDream the Movement is @LivingTheDream the Movement, and that's LIVIN. The Dream. And then my website is www.alexaglazer.com.
Well, thank you, Alexa, for taking your time. We appreciate it. So now let's toss it over to the panel discussion.
Thanks. So we're here for another panel discussion. Today we are actually with Ariel, Diana, and Lupita. First, we would like to talk about something pretty devastating in my personal opinion, but USA men's soccer did not make the World Cup. On October 10th, they actually lost to Trinidad, knocking them out of any possibility making it into World Cup. What are your thoughts on this, Ariel?
I mean, critics are already calling this the worst sport loss in history, and if the U.S. had 3 chances of making it to the World Soccer Cup. They could either have come to a tie with Trinidad, they could have waited for Panama and Honduras to lose, and they didn't, and they lost against Trinidad and Tobago. There was an own goal by defender Omar Gonzalez, you know, pretty bad. And I don't know, just think about all the money that is going to be lost because networks invested a lot of money on covering the World Soccer Cup, and there will be no U.S. team to cover now.
Yeah, and he was devastated after he apologized to his fans. He was just like, his quote was, "I just want to say I'm sorry to all the fans. The U.S. fans were pulling for us, and I wanted to go to Russia. Believe us, we let down an entire nation." That's a lot on someone's shoulder right there.
All the fault on him is unfair. Think about the U.S. and all the resources they have. You know, we have stadiums. These kids get free rides to college, some of them. And Trinidad and Tobago, it's an undeveloped country, you know, and they lost. This should not be happening. This is the first time since 1986 that the U.S. does not qualify to the World Soccer Cup. And it's
we had beat them earlier 6-0, and now we lost to them. And I just would like to, you know, kind of stay on the subject a little bit longer. Moving forward, Lupita, what do you think we should do as a country that is developing in soccer to make the 2020 or 2022 World Cup?
Right. Well, we have to, start breeding better soccer players. So give them more incentives to play better and, you know, keep serious about the sport. Because over here we have, you know, NBA, MLB, and all of these other countries don't have that. So we need something to that they'll play towards. So they'll they'll keep in the sport and they won't drop out. So then we'll have better soccer players.
That's the thing. A lot of athletes, they say move on to other sports that are more popular here. We don't get the best athletes in soccer, and there's got to be some more incentive. But I'm going to switch it over now to women's soccer. Huge thing going on with women's soccer is equal pay. So they actually get paid quite a bit less. They are equal in the fact that they get paid the same salary, yearly salary, but it's more their bonuses for winning games, which they do better than the men's soccer team, and they're not making as much. Diana, what are your thoughts?
I just think it's really unfair. I mean, both genders are playing the same sport. They're both doing just as much hard work into it, so it's like, why aren't they getting equal pay? For example, in 2014, when Germany won the World Cup, FIFA awarded them $35 million. A year later, Women's USA Soccer won the cup as well, and they got $2 million to the US Soccer Federation. So it's just not fair. They've won 3 World Cups, they've won 4 Olympic gold medals, and just have made so many achievements. So it's like, why are they getting discriminated against? Overall, women's soccer has won and played, like you mentioned, more games, and they're still not getting equal pay. Ultimately, it's not right, it's not fair, and they should get what they deserve, which is equal pay.
And they have signed a contract that, sorry Ariel, but we do have to wrap up here soon, and they have signed a contract and things have improved. They are not equal yet, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about this in the years to come. All right, thank you guys. Now let's head back to the anchors.
Thanks for that discussion, guys. So bummed about the World Cup.
I know.
Little fun fact. Many members on our team here at the Rebel Report are former athletes themselves. Baseball, track, soccer. We even have a few cheerleaders.
Haley Brooks comes out of retirement to hit the mats with UNLV Cheer for our favorite segment, Show Me Your Skills.
Show me your skills.
You've seen them on the court at basketball, on the sidelines at football, on the mat at nationals, but today UNLV Cheer is going to teach me how to do a stunt.
7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2.
But not that one.
Hi, I'm Kimmy. I'm a side base, and I'm going to show Haley how to do a lib. Put your right arm under her foot, and then you're going to put your left arm on top, but put your thumb right under her foot.
Under her
Yep.
foot? Wow.
Just like that. One, two. Nice!
Now I've mastered the art of being a side base, but it's time to see how I'll handle things in the air.
Hi, I'm Sienna, and I'm going to show you how to do a half. So first you start with 1 foot in, and then you'll end up putting your second foot into your side base's hand. And you have to keep your butt up, and then they'll dip, and then you just stand up straight.
How do I get down? I used to be a cheerleader myself, but UNLV Cheer is no joke. I'm gonna go home and take an ice bath. For the Rebel Report, I'm Haley Brooks.
That's pretty impressive. Those girls do all kinds of flips and lifts on top of each other that I can't even do on the ground.
And if you want to see a cheer competition here on campus, UNLV Cheer will host and perform their national routine at the Cox Pavilion for the national send-off on January 8th. Well, that's it. We're all out of time. But once again, here at the Rebel Report, we have plenty more to report on this week. Michaela, what's your favorite sport to report on?
So far, it's been the PGA Tour. It's really exciting to watch the pros battle it out on the golf course. Be sure to stay up to date with us on social media at RebelReportUNLV on Facebook and Twitter, and RebelReport_UNLV on Instagram.
Have a good weekend, everyone.